Hey guys, MWUSA Season 3, Episode 61. It is Tuesday afternoon. I just want to kind of catch you up on what's been going on the last day or so. It has been a whirlwind, to say the least. And let me think here. So, off the top of my head here, trying to think about what's happened. Wednesday morning, got up and got ready. I had a trip planned to Europe, to England and France, specifically London and Paris, and had everything set up for the whole family to go. We got up early in the morning on Wednesday, got ready to go, got a ride to the airport from a family member, and we boarded our first flight. First flight, oh my goodness, it was kind of a shaky flight. We had this really skinny jet that only had 4 seats per row, and it was fast. I got to give it that, but the takeoff was so bumpy and honestly kind of scary. All the big bumps and moving around, shaking around. I really do not like that kind of thing. And but we got up in the sky and we landed in JFK Airport in New York City. Um, and from there, we had a 5.5 hour layover. So we had to find a way to fill in all that time for that layover. My youngest was saying on the flight out how one thing that he would like when he gets to New York would be a I Love New York shirt. Which, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool because at his age, how does he even know about those? So when we got to the airport, I found one for him and bought him one. And interestingly, New York is becoming like a lot of these socialist countries. Um, if you want a bag to put your groceries in or a bag to put whatever you purchased in, you have to pay a tax for it. You have to pay a fee for the bag. And as I'm talking to you right now, I'm in London and they're just starting to do that here. Some places already started and some places have not. So it is coming. So I see it eventually spreading everywhere, but it goes a lot further than that. And I'll talk to you about that a little bit. I'm trying to think about I guess that was this morning. Anyway, I got him that shirt, and then we had, like I said, over 5 hours left, and we went to this like pub place and ordered some food. But you don't order it through a waiter or a waitress. You order it through a QR code on the table. So scan the QR code, type in all the stuff that you want, all the details, everything, and then they have the guts to ask you for a tip. I put in the tip. Came out to like $173, right? This includes like 2 kids' meals that were only $11, but I still got up to $173 for this meal. I got myself a small steak, and in the picture, the steak was big with a little bit of beans on the side. When it came, the steak was tiny with a lot of vegetables on the side, and it was covered in some kind of gravy, which I did not enjoy at all. I didn't like the steak at all. Um, so anyway, got through all that, and now we still had a few hours to kill. So I would take walks in the airport with the kids and stuff like that, and kind of just explore and stuff. And one of my boys wears contact lenses. And when we left the first airport, we, of course, wanted to check our bags in, but it was so expensive to check them in that we each had a carry on and a small other object like a book bag. So we had 12 items that we were carrying. They give us the option in that first city to check in our bags because it was a full flight and they thought they'd run out of room. So we checked them in because it was free. Well, unfortunately for him, his contact lens solution and the little things you put the contacts in at night were in the bag, so he didn't have them. So he had a really rough time. Um, all day his eyes were hurting. We went from place to place trying to find solution for him and couldn't find it. So he just lived with it. And then we finally got to the point where our flight was going to lift off from JFK to Heathrow Airport. And I don't know who plans this stuff out, but they had two flights going to London 20 minutes apart next to each other. So two different gates, 20 minutes apart. They were both loading passengers at the same time. And how confusing is that when you're calling group whatever and then group whatever to this gate and to this gate? People were mixing up. They were in the wrong line. It was just awful. So one cool thing was there was my little one recently got a camera. I think I'd mentioned that before. And there was some really cool 3D artwork over there. What I mean by 3D is not like, where you wear the special glasses, but like the artwork where it's like a shadow box type thing where you have a picture and then you have something in front of it, making it look three-dimensional. And he saw some cool things there. And he saw New York, Paris, and London, all the places we'd be visiting, and took pictures of those and was all excited to do that with his camera. But I have to say, I was not looking forward to a long flight, and our flight was 6 hours long, um, and sleeping was very difficult. The people in front of me leaned their chair all the way back. I couldn't even open up my tray to eat or to put my drinks on. Everything was so cramped and so tight. Luckily, one of the only seats available on the plane was next to our group, so I was able to move seats with one of my kids, switch seats, and I got the seat next to the empty area, so I was able to spread out a little bit. But it was less turbulent than the other flight, but there were some patches of turbulence where it was like an hour or more of just bumpiness. And I'm not like a big fan of flying already, and that just made it worse. But food was decent. We had the lowest class, so we had like the little pre-packaged food, but it was still okay. And vegetables, um, some other mixed greens and things like that. Dessert, water, free tea was included, and then we had a breakfast sandwich for breakfast. We had either bacon or scrambled egg sandwich. When I say a bacon sandwich, I mean a couple pieces of bacon on a piece of bread. There was no toppings, no nothing else. It was just the basic. But, all of that ended up being okay. It was a very long flight, but we did make it. Um, Actually, let me throw this in. One interesting thing about JFK Airport is JFK used to have the world's biggest stained glass window display. Of course, that's been taken out, but imagine how cool it would have been to have all that light coming in on all that stained glass. But anyway, we landed in London, so now it's like 7 in the morning London time. So like New York time was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and none of us had hardly any sleep, maybe half an hour of sleep. So we were all very tired. We land in London. We get an Uber to the city to the apartment that we rented, and we go into the parking garage where the Uber picks you up. And what's the first thing we see? A kid from my children's high school or middle school. He goes to the same school, and he just landed in London also. Well, what are the odds of that? And he's one of the first people that we saw. But we were able to go ahead and get an Uber to the city. It was about 12 or 14 miles, but it took about an hour and a half with traffic at around 8 o'clock in the morning, so that wasn't very pleasant. But we had a good day. Um, Let me see. One thing we did was we booked through VRBO, and we got a good deal on an apartment, big enough for our whole family. It sleeps like 8 people, and for 2 nights it was like $800. So I thought that was very reasonable. It's a very nice place, clean, everything else, and the host was definitely the host definitely took care of us Anytime we needed something, they answered right away and helped us out. So as I'm talking to you now, it's been a day and a half since I slept, so I'm a little bit tired, but I just wanted to bring you up to speed. But we did what's called the Big Bus Tour. The Big Bus it looks like a London bus, but the second floor of the bus is open. So it's like open air on the second floor. And they have like these plugs where you can plug in earphones. And as you're driving, it's explaining all different places that you're going to. That's kind of neat. Not for me, but a lot of people were doing it. Um, Interestingly enough, a lot of people were sleeping. All right, so I'm not really positive where I was there, but one of my kids brought me some tea. Anyway, the big bus tours. One thing I noticed was a lot of people were sleeping on these buses because they probably had really weird flight times as well. But um, yeah, so we got off the bus. The big bus tour takes you from place to place all around town, like 40 something stops. You can stay on the bus the whole time, or you can get off and get back on. A new bus comes every 20 minutes or so. I thought it was very useful for a big family of mine. It was only like 200 and something pounds. It was not a crazy amount. And if you think about taking an Uber to 5 or 6 places, you're going to be way above that. So that's one thing I would recommend. And then we went to all the fancy stores. My daughter wanted to go to a Kate Spade store, went to the Nike store, went to a candy store. We went to Hadley's, which is like an FAO Schwartz type store. It's a toy store, and we bought a what's Mr. Bean's bear called? Oh man, how did I forget that? Anyway, we bought one of those. That was pretty cool. Um, and at the end of the day, we had a cruise. So if you had the bus tour, you could go and just a boat ride, like 40 minutes or so. And that was nice. They had food if you wanted to buy it on there as well, more snack food than anything else. Let me see. We did do some fast food and stuff today. We ordered Uber food today as well, just because we had no time at all today. Tomorrow will be a lot different. But all in all, not a bad day. Tomorrow's plan is to wake up early and be at the train station by about 7 a.m. and be on our way by 8 a.m. on a tour of Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, Bath, and a couple churches. And all the tickets and everything are all included in that. It's a bus tour. You get on there, they have Wi-Fi, the kids can talk to their friends and all that, because I have them in airplane mode. I'm not paying for all my kids to have access to the internet. So they'll do that. We'll go from city to city. We'll have some nice food tomorrow as well, and then we'll get back early enough that I'm going to try to get a couple sessions of blackjack in tomorrow. Um, I see places like casinos within a mile and a half of where we're staying, so I'm going to try to give that a shot tomorrow, and we'll see what happens with that. But all in all, kind of a crazy day and a half. But so far so good. And we'll see what happens. Um, I'm sure I missed a million things because I'm tired here, but I'll update you more later on. But I just wanted to put this out for you guys for now, and then the next couple days I'll try to put another one out. And if you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I can add it to the next episode as well. We did get chargers from Amazon for both England and France, and they're working really well. We're using them right now. I get like 3 chargers for $30, and they have like 3 or 4 USB and like 4 AC plugs, so you can plug tons of stuff in those things, um, and you don't have to suffer without your devices. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. You're all caught up. If you have any questions or comments, it's mwusa21 at gmail.com. mwusa21 at gmail.com. See you tomorrow or the next day.